G'day fellow skiers, this video is for you who are skidding around a mountain, or you can carve a bit, but you both need to get better so that you can have an epic time with your friends just carving down the hill. We're gonna look at how the ski works in this video, then we move on to do a couple of beginner drills. It's also good for you who are more advanced, and work a bit on achieving greater edge angles. Let's get started. Let me introduce you. I think it's helpful to understand how the shape of the ski helps you carve, and knowing that's going to make you a better skier. So, a carving ski looks like this. It's thinner on the middle than it is in the tail and the tip of the ski. And that creates something pretty cool. If you have low edge angle, here let's half a finger high, the distance between the table and the edge. If you put pressure on it, it bends the ski. And that bend is what's gonna make a long turn with a rather large radius, maybe this angle, 20-meter radius. But if you put it on a high edge angle, here I can fit more than a finger under the ski, and then you put pressure on it, it's gonna bend the ski much more. So with a more bent ski, you gotta make a much sharper turn with a short radius. Let's look at the difference between a skidded parallel turn and a clean cut carve turn. In the skidded parallel turn, if you do it well, you are basically steering the skis. You are rotating the feet so the skis are turning around. That is great for bumps, powder, short turns. Awesome stuff. Carve turns, on the other hand, you're basically just going sideways from edge to edge. When you do that, the ski is cleanly cutting through the snow. So you're not spraying much, it leaves a nice track behind. And it's just wonderful. It's more wonderful than the skidded parallel turn. That's why you want to pay attention. If learning from video isn't quite working for you, maybe you want to join one of our awesome ski technique camps. We throw in a little sprinkle of freestyle too, with some top-notch ski instructors. Maybe we'll see you then. In order to learn how to carve, what terrain you choose to practice on makes all the difference. Try to find a slope that's super flat, so you hardly get any speed, and that is consistently flat for a long time, so you can practice this a fair bit. Alright, let's take our first baby step towards carving on skis. Find a slope with not so much traffic on it, look up. And if you just stand like this, I'm doing nothing, I'm a bit on edge. Push yourself forward and feel for the sensation of the skis carving, just taking me up here to the left right now, without me even trying to do anything. That's your first carve. So I hope you could feel the side cut. Now let's make it a little bit trickier. I'm gonna aim my skis about 15 degrees down, and I'm gonna do nothing else. I wanna look up, make sure I'm safe. I'm down, and I'm just standing here, enjoying sliding, and the skis are just taking me here, up the hill. So I hope that traverse felt good. Now let's make it a little bit harder by aiming down the slope a wee bit more, and do what's often called a J turn. It comes from my name, Jens, or maybe they named it because of the shape the skis do. So to make it look more like a J, we want some speed to start building up before we turn. And when we turn, we don't just stand still like the last attempt, but we actually roll the knees over. You can also let the hip move a little bit towards the inside ski. Let's give it a go now. Aim the skis 45 degrees down the hill. Let the speed build up a little bit. And then roll the knees and bring the hip over. And I'll let the slope slow me down. Because that's how you slow yourself down with a carve turn. Feel that pressure at the end of the turn. That helps you control the speed. So do this many times, and always look back at your tracks and see if they're clean cuts. If they are, you can move on to a steeper J turn, like we're gonna do now. We're gonna go for the full-on J in the fall line. I'm gonna go straight down. I'm letting some speed build up. Look at no one's coming. really cranking some angles in from the knees. And I almost, that's a 180-degree turn. Quite happy about that. If you struggle to make clean cuts through the snow, maybe that you're a little bit too rushed, that you're rotating, steering the skis up, losing that clean carve. Or that maybe you haven't got quite enough edge angle. So then try to bring the hip on the inside and also roll the feet, ankles, knees into the turn. And those skis should grip nicely for you. Look what happens if you're leaning too far forwards. The tail is coming up. So if you're doing that, that's going to cause the tail to stop gripping the snow and start skidding. So remind yourself to have the hip straight over your skis. So the weight is nice and centered and the edge along the whole ski is gripping, making you carve like a boss. All right, since you're watching this video, maybe you're at home, take on your ski boots and try this. So just stand still. You can even do it in front of a mirror to do it better. Make sure that you have a nice skier's position where you feel the entire foot inside of the boot. You can look down that everything looks straight and have a nice position like such. Then you roll from the big toe to the little toe and really feel it nice and gradual. Have really the feet start this movement. Once you've done that, we can incorporate the knees a little bit as well. But still, you start to roll from your feet. I'm rolling from left to right. And when you look in the mirror, you can look for the knees that they're following each other in perfect unison, like such. And if you can pull that off, let's do it on snow. Now when you do this for the first time on snow, try to just do the railroads with the ankles. So you really roll the feet from left to right, and then maybe a little bit of the knees are gonna join. If you're looking at your ski tracks and they're carving quite cleanly, but you see the distance between the two are changing, that could be because you're not angling the feet to the same angle. So you could try this little drill to fix it. That you take your ski poles, look down at your legs that they are hip width apart, and you grab the kneecaps. That's gonna force them to move in unison. But remember, this puts you in a wonky position that you don't wanna have. But you can try it a few times. Maybe it fixes your problem. Let's go for a ride now and make them steer in unison. And just gently roll them in unison from one side to the next. Now we're gonna start doing more C-shaped carve turns. And in order to achieve that, we need something that I like to call critically high edge angle. And it's depending on how icy it is, how steep it is. And if you get it critically high enough, you can control the speed and line without skidding out. So if we look at my left leg here, if I push it like away, it would slide away with this edge angle. If I now instead would bring the knee in a little bit, get more edge angle, now when I push down, it doesn't slide away anymore. So let's have a look at that in practice. Today I got Carve Digital Ski Coach inside of my ski boot. I'm going to show you what the edge angle looks like on this run, where I'm not going to have enough edge angle for the steepness. Let's go.
So here on the steeper part of this blue run, it works alright in the beginning to carve with this little edge angle, but here when it steepens off, I start to skid immediately. So the G-forces are more powerful than the edge angle we have. So that is suboptimal. Here this blue run is flattening off and I'm limiting my edge angle to just using the ankles and knees. And here the speed is increasing and increasing. I do manage to keep a clean edge, but it's not enough to control the speed. So we need more edge angle, generating more pressure that is going to help us control that speed. This is what it looks like when I achieve enough edge angle to maintain control of the speed and line with clean cuts through the snow. But that edge angle is generating enough pressure to help us control the speed and have a great time.
So on that first run, I only had an edge angle of 51 degrees, and that was not enough for me to really grip the skis. It was skidding out, so it was less than critical edge angle. Then when I was doing railroad turn, so I was limiting my ability to create a lot of edge. But then I lost control of the speed instead, with a mere edge angle of 39 degrees, as you can see here. But after that, when I decided to really show you what the critical edge angle looked like, where I could control the line and the speed so it was consistent, I increased my edge angle to 59 degrees. On the sharpest turns it was way more than that. So that's what I mean. You need to have enough edge angle to match your environment. Let's look at a couple of strategies on how to do that now. The first thing we got to improve is our transition. That's the space in between two turns. I'd like you to try this. My skis are facing a little bit down this really flat hill. I lean up onto my pole, I put it on the hip bone. I feel a lot of pressure on the outside leg. You see I can lift my inside. So a fair bit of pressure here. So we're going to improve the transition now by softening the inside leg, making me come up and then allow yourself to fall over the ski inwards like such. If you fall in here, you can easily rotate the knees in, achieving rather high edge angles early on in the turn. And this movement is also called toppling. You're kind of like a tree falling over. Try that and feel the position. But after you got the hang of it, it's important that we take this one step further, because to just tip into the turn, kind of like that, it's going to lead to some bad habits that you can fall over if you hit an ice patch. So we got to combine some angulation, crank it in gradually as we go through the turn. So what we're going to try now is a little bit of a pole drag. So as we ski, feel that toppling, and then you put the pole down and drag the outside pole. That's going to help you create some better angles. Let's give it a go. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to the mad angles, the final frontier of carving skiing. Let's have a look at where the mad angles come from and some pros and cons. First up, as we did in a railroad drill, to use your knees. It's quick and snappy if you want to change direction quickly. Next one is the inclination. What's good with this is mad strong, because the entire skeleton is aligned, so you can resist some incredible forces that way. Next thing, what's really going to create the mad angles is a toppling motion. Roll the knees in like in the railroad drills, but move into such like a flying kick position. And this is where you really get the mad angles. And that comes from the hip socket here, because that leg can go almost straight out. And to keep this one on this crazy high edge angle is no problem at all. So you can experiment with this as you ski along. All right, let's play around with your newfound carving skills. Imagine that you're an artist using a paintbrush to draw beautiful lines down the hill. You may want to do them small, and larger, and then small again. Just play around with different shapes and sizes. Oh wow, that was a good time. I'm no Dali, but I feel like a bit of a ski artist sometimes. Cool that you're still here at the end of the video. We got way more of this type of content. Hit subscribe so you'll see the next one too. Or you can join one of our ski, freestyle or freeride camps for adults, where you get to learn an awful lot of stuff in person with us here at Stomp It Camps and tutorials obviously. See you in the next one. Ciao.